Hi, Julie.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
I'm really excited to have you here today to talk about and get to know you better. So, can you help us learn more about English as an additional language and why you're so great at
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm happy to be here and to talk more about this program. English as an Additional Language is a program that supports students who don't speak English first. So our program provides that support. We are able to work one-on-one with students or in small groups to help them get the language they need, the cultural information that they need, and also just to support them in any way that they may need to work with extracurricular activities, and we liaise with parents as well.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So, in your experience, what drew you to become a teacher that helps other students in this area?
Well,
that
it
helps
was
students?
really fundamentally when I started traveling. I felt very connected to understanding the needs of certain learners when they go to another country, how overwhelming the little things can be, how you really do need someone in your corner to help you.
So you talk about the things that you've learned and overcoming some little obstacles when you were traveling. Can you give some examples of things that as Carlton students or Carlton community that students who come here from a completely different culture we take for granted but
Sure.
might find overwhelming?
Yes, sure. Well, I'll give one example of my own and then one of I see with my students. For me, it was the everyday things. Just going to the post office and trying to get money home and be understood and wanting assurance that your instructions were clear. That was what we perceive to be a simple thing, but the consequences of that not happening are enormous. It's stressful. You sense people waiting for you in line, and then you know that you're holding people up and potentially maybe even irritating other people just by the fact that you can't quite communicate. And then those sort of situations happen for our students as well, but it's different because I knew I was going home, and I knew it was a short experience for me. For them, they're living here. So the stresses that they have, there's just so many layers. They're coming into a new school where they don't speak the language. Some of them for the first time feel like they're a visible minority and they have never felt that before. And a lot of them feel very lost in an entire country and system that they don't have any knowledge of. So some of them have not been in schools before. So we may forget that they don't know when the bell rings what that means for some. And for others, it could be as simple as just not knowing how to navigate or to work through the school system at all, how to register for classes, how to join up, for team activities, how to make friends, and really just where to start and how to go about it.
Do the kids that come to our school from other countries that have experienced war, do you think they feel lonely? Is that what I heard?
I'm quite sure that many do, and I wouldn't want to speak for everyone, but I've heard the comments several times. We have students who come from countries, even if there's war and conflict, that just culturally have traditions of walking over to someone's house unannounced. That's fine because we will make dinner together now. We don't have enough. Let's go get more. It's not a big deal.
Right.
And they're very, very much used to someone knocking on their door and being there and having a large family, a large community, all within walking distance in the same maybe even house. So then they come here and we're different. We're friendly, we're kind for the most part, but we don't always make that step where we're going to knock on their door. And additionally, a lot of them don't come with a full family either. So we have parents who have two of their kids, and some kids are back in their country. We have kids with one parent. We have kids who come by themselves. They're 18 and all alone. There's quite a diversity. So yes, loneliness can be an enormous factor. Loneliness and isolation even. Yeah.
So if you were going to give advice to a Carlton student, Prince Albert community member,
Sure.
who's lived here their entire life and is fortunate enough to have their entire family living in the community, what would you say to them when they meet someone who's new to our community?
Of course, the obvious answer, I think, is always just simple kindness. Everybody universally needs kindness and warmth, and also understanding. and realizing that, for instance, I've had families who have never seen traffic lights, and they might go through that traffic light when they're learning to drive and not quite get it, and they're doing their best. So if you're in a school, for instance, and the student gets up and walks out, they may need instruction, you know, to stay in the classroom, wait for bells, things we just don't think to teach, or we just assume people know. So having that patience and understanding before reacting, I think, is an important part.
Thanks.
You're
And thanks for
welcome.
everything that you do.
Oh, thank
You
you.
do a
Yeah,
great job.
no, I'm very rewarded. Thanks.